Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have returned. Yes, the CCS fan streams have returned. And we have a new person here.
To come up with a better name. We honestly do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
Go ahead.
let's
Let's do this.
Let's see who's the new one here. So say hello.
Freshman.
Y'all can hear me, right? Just making sure this microphone's working.
Yeah, it's coming great.
Yeah,
okay.
So yes, welcome Brandon to the stream.
Okay.
A new guest.
Yes,
of course. We're getting a lot of those lately.
Oh yes. And yes, totally professional. But anyway, we today we're going to be talking about the movies and films that have not made it to, the 5,000 things Hollywood goes through, from the movies, TVs to all the DVDs and all the Netflix specials, all the type of stuff that films seems to get released nowadays. We're going to be talking about the movies that don't get released, the ones that are just stuck into the development
hell.
Yes.
Yep. A lot of movies as of late have actually fallen into this category, so we have a good bit to talk about.
A lot to talk about. Because to those who don't know what films in development and hell are, it's basically simple. Basically, are films that are proposed by filmmakers to Hollywood executives, and depending on the situation, if it gets green-lighted or not green-lighted.
Greenlit.
Yeah, greenlit, sorry. They may get made, but unfortunately, circumstances will happen like studio interference, a lack of communication between filmmakers and actors.
Or literally the directors quitting their job. So there's multiple things that go into this.
Yeah, multiple things that go into this.
Multiple factors that go into that.
Oh, yes.
I think, wasn't it in 2008 or 9 when George Miller tried to make that animated Justice League movie?
Yeah.
And I think it was, I think down with one of the reasons being because of the screenwriters strikes that were going on in 2009.
Yeah. And also apparently, supposedly, the Justice League Immortal film was, at first they wanted to make it live action for George Miller. I think I remember he wanted to do an animated film, but unfortunately, I heard about a bunch of rumors. Sometimes one of them says that, no, we can't make it animated because, an animated PG-13 movie can't sell, or the executive saying, no, it just it's not going to work at all. A lot of different factors that prevents the movie getting made.
Oh, yeah. And, the mentality that animation is only for kids.
Yeah.
It should only be for kids.
Yeah, no, it's totally not that. But freaking people, for some reason, tend to see it that way, which is weird. There's a lot of adult animated stuff out there that I'm pretty aware of. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hentai, haha.
Oh yeah, and there's been, but there has been also other, other type of, films and everything else have been has tried, ladies and gentlemen, to get into made. For example, one of the most interesting ones I look up to is the Jetsons live action movie.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that one kind of coming.
I never heard about that. I might have.
Oh yes.
Go ahead, Dirk.
It was originally going to be. It was announced in late 1984 by Paramount Pictures. It was going to be executive produced by Gary Nardo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, but
you pronounce it like Naruto. Like, come on.
Believe it, but anyway.
Believe it.
But yet it did not work.
Let him talk.
Yeah,
but it failed. But in the end, it failed. And then the late '80s, the Universal Studios purchased the rights for Flintstones, from the Flintstones and the Jetsons, and they made the Jetsons the movie, which was animated. It was decent, but no live action one. But May 2007, Robert Rodriguez entered talks with Universal and Warner Bros. To film a live action adaptation of the Jetsons with a potential 2009 release.
Yeah.
But yet, he was also discussing about the film adaptation of Land of the Lost, and well, you know how that turned out.
Yeah, the one with Will Ferrell. It was. I wouldn't say it was terrible because their hearts were in the right place, but the script and some of the jokes were just cringeworthy. I mean, the mosquito scene is just, oh god, what were they thinking with that?
Well, it's not even that much like the TV show in terms of the cast, that is. Like, were they trying to do like a parody thing? That's something I was wondering.
Yeah.
And no one really liked it.
Yeah, they were trying to do a parody similar to the live-action Bewitched film, starring Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah, I remember
that one? Oh god.
Yeah.
It didn't seem that bad, honestly. Not something you watch every day, though.
Yeah, it was not that good, but also he said Rodriguez was unclear which project he would pursue next. The latest, he says, continue on the story, the latest script draft for the Jetsons by signwriter Adam F. Goldberg, and we'll see who's that. He's written, I believe, many other stuff. He's screenwrited, he wrote screenplays for the Jetsons, the remake of Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, that thing was not going to work. That failed.
Yeah, I think that was canceled anyway.
Yeah, Muppets, Wizards of Oz. Actually, for a year writing DreamWorks Animation's How to Train Your Dragon, that movie.
I know that really surprised me. Freaking, we talk about DC a lot on here, and I'm not surprised by this, but the Batman standalone film has been put into this little fun category of ours.
Yeah, because now it looks like it might not. It's honestly, it's all hinged on how Wonder Woman and Justice League end up.
Well, they have chosen a director to replace Ben Affleck. I think his name is Matt Reeves.
Oh, here's the thing: the director
is the Apes movies.
Oh yeah,
but it's not like it's the release date has been put in. I don't think they really know when it will come out now.
Oh, yes. But here's the thing. That director just walked off. He said, no, he's not going to do it.
Oh, Matt Reeves?
Huh. Yeah.
Well, it's...
yeah. And
it's more... Yeah, it's more complicated than that, but
continue on to Jetsons.
Yeah, with the topic.
Warner Brothers, delayed in 2000... was originally going to release in 2012, but in early 2012, Warner Brothers Pictures delayed the picture indefinitely, and they actually hired two new screenwriters, Van Robotics, I can't pronounce his name, Van Robotics, and Evan Sousa to rewrite the script, and producer Denise Dinovi.
That's his name.
Yes. Said in 2011 that Rodriguez was off the project as his vision for the movie wasn't a mainstream studio one. Considering the Jetsons the Jetsons weren't really mainstream at this point. I don't know why. Everything else. And and even better, and supposedly 2012, Kanye West reported via Twitter, yes, that Kanye West, that he was in talks to become the creative director on the movie The Jetsons.
What? Wait, Kanye West, did I hear that? Like Kanye West?
Why is he trying to get in on this? Why?
Yeah.
Well,
it's like whenever they do these cartoon to live action adaptations, they always have to have some.
Oh yeah, they hire the celebrities. Yes, sir.
Celebrity. They always have to get some pop cultural celebrity.
They could have chose anybody else though. Why him?
Well, he is still somewhat popular.
No, I know he's popular and everything. I just don't see it working with him.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that happened.
Practically thinks he's God, though.
Yeah.
He's kind of a nut.
Yeah, and name attention. But speaking of the Jetsons, he actually brings a very good point because I do remember that Rodriguez left the project to develop Battle Angel Alita, which was originally James Cameron's original project. Due to Warner Brothers not having faith in Rodriguez's vision for the Jetsons. So my guess with Kanye West, they're just going to bring in more of a mainstream appeal. But this isn't the first time that happened, like I said, because Peabody and Mr. Peabody and Sherman actually had almost the same fate as that film. For example, here's the thing. Before DreamWorks acquired the rights to the film, it was acquired by Bullwinkle Pictures, the company that owns all the cartoons like Rocky and Bullwinkle, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and whatnot, and alongside with Sony Pictures. And what they wanted to do is that of a live action and CGI hybrid type of film. And let's see. I know that Rob Minkoff was set to direct the film, but unfortunately, here's the thing. The executives wanted Snoop Dogg to rap with Mr. Peabody in order to promote more of his music.
It's as I said, they always want to get some music celebrity or some celebrity when they do these things, and it never works out all that well.
It never works out well, but who cares? If it makes money, fuck it. But here's the thing.
Like, look at The Smurfs. The Smurfs is practically just an Adam Sandler film, but without Adam Sandler.
Yeah, without Adam Sandler, yeah. But here's the thing. Apparently, Minkoff actually had control of the project, and he did the smartest thing that any other freaking person should have done. He said no to the executives. He took his project and set it up in DreamWorks Animation in 2007, and he's been developing the film for almost a few years now, until in 2014 when it was released. And guess what? It was successful because it didn't try to pander to the whole celebrity bullshit, but just make a faithful adaptation of it.
Well, I'm sure it was commercially successful, but considering how much animation I think they still had to do some write-downs for that movie, considering how expensive animation is. Like, even if you break even, that's still not enough for these animation studios because of how the system works and whatnot.
Well, speaking of animation, they have been, there's one anime that Hollywood seems to try to want to make the film, that a groundbreaking cult classic Japanese anime known as Akira.
Oh God!
Oh yeah!
Oh God!
That's been in development hell for such a long time.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is, like,
personally feel
it's kind of like the development hell of that Neon Genesis Evangelion film.
Yeah.
Granted, unlike how Akira actually, like, they hired some directors and stuff, but like for pre-production, whereas the Neon Genesis Evangelion film, they never even got in cast or director because they were still trying to get
screenwriters.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many roles. Canada has been bounced from Leonardo DiCaprio, James Franco, Michael
Leonardo DiCaprio
and Michael
Akira, though. That's what I've heard from someone, that Leonardo DiCaprio owns the film rights for some reason.
But honestly, to me, Akira should not. I mean, as much as I like the movie, and I still think it's a really good film, it's just too smushed together. I honestly think the adaptation should be more based on the manga, because the manga goes in far more depth, and I think it has a much more satisfying conclusion.
I definitely agree with you. Although I think the Akira animated movie is very great. It's like a condensed version of the second half. Like, you gotta, first half, but you gotta recognize, like, that movie was made before the manga was finished.
That's the real problem.
The same director. Like, what I see is the Akira film is like a great introduction to the Akira manga, but like when you read the actual manga, there's even more substance. Like, I think if they made a live-action Akira movie, they'd have to do like a two-parter.
No.
I don't think a live-action adaptation of an anime movie has ever worked out. Like,
it actually did work out on one film only.
What?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that too, but
you have to realize
that's a manga adaptation.
There have been a lot of attempts at making an anime or manga into movies, and a lot of them, except for one apparently, have failed. So I don't see a lot of good coming from an Akira movie.
Yeah, not even Japan can.
Well, it depends. Like, you'd have to get a really good director. Like, I don't think when Peter Jackson went out to make Lord of the Rings, I don't think anyone expected that to work out, considering the scope of the series. But like but it ended up working out. But still, like, I get what you mean.
Oh yeah, let's just hope it's not like that one Dragon Ball Z movie we all want to forget.
But
yeah. We know about the Dragon Ball Z.
Those aren't that confident in that.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, when you look at the really, the films and such, because there's been a lot of, I mean, I'm gonna say it. I mean, Ghost in the Shell has a lot of writing on it, because if it fails, you're gonna see more of these films still stuck in that. I think Battle Hunter Alita, which James Cameron has trouble getting out. Which if James Cameron
he was gonna direct it after Avatar, like using the same 3D. After Avatar became the highest grossing movie ever, decided to drop that and just spend like almost a decade trying to make the Avatar sequels, and Robert Rodriguez is gonna make that movie. James Cameron will produce it.
Yeah, and that's to me the problem when it comes to film in development hell. I mean, looking in 2016 and notice that there's been plenty of movies that were released, and if you research any of their histories, they were from development hell. And when when they're released, you realize, wow, this product is not even polished. It's not even good. And I'm referring to films like Independence Day, Resurgence, Bad Santa 2, Zoolander 2.
I think not that Independence Day 2 is not that Independence Day is a highbrow film, but I think it is decent at least to watch as like a fun film. But
but here's the thing, people
like apparently Tom Watson for some reason would.
I'm actually looking at Alita Battle Angel. Christopher Waltz. I can't believe I almost mispronounced that name.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz. The dude is going to. Yeah, he's going to be the scientist. Is the scientist in Alita a villain? Because Christopher Waltz is pretty much
he's always typecasted as the villain. So if it's gonna be the villain, then yes. Which is gonna be a damn shame.
It's gonna be he's gonna be also German, I believe, isn't he? Because he probably has he's just gonna probably play either an Englishman or a German. So which is gonna be just really that sort of thing.
Yep.
And Jackie O'Hara is gonna be in this too, which is gonna be interesting.
All right, but
talking about the Battle Angel Alita.
Yes, because that looks. I mean, I'm surprised it took, but like I said. It is, somewhat surprising that someone like, someone like James Cameron, who has so much chance. I mean, seriously.
So that's why he wanted to make it, but of course he let his obsession with the Avatar sequels keep him from doing that.
But it just seems like it's funny how even he has trouble toward this, because I thought he would have. I mean, after Terminator 2,
the thing is, you gotta remember Tom Watson, man. Like Titanic and Avatar were almost not made because of Tom Watson.
Tom Rothman.
Though Titanic made a lot of money, he still had trouble getting Avatar made. Like I think he at one point pitched it to Disney, and they rejected it, which is funny because they're doing Avatar Land for Disneyland or World.
Yes, it's like Disney real.
Because I think it comes out this year. I think.
It's like Disney's realizing they're basically eating their own shit. Like we're like, oh my god, Avatar made so much money. We have to build a theme park.
Yeah, and it's funny because you look at the record this man has. I mean, the dude has made the first Terminator, but also directed Rambo: First Blood Part 2, Aliens. The Abyss, which is what people don't really talk about anymore. It's actually a really good film.
Yeah,
Terminator 2, True Lies.
Terminator 2.
Yes, Titanic. He was actually originally going to do Spider-Man. Actually.
Oh yeah, well,
which
one? Spider-Man, the script seemed pretty messed up. Like at one point, he had a scene where I'm not making this up. Peter Parker and Mary Jane would have sex like a spider on a web, and they would. I think some kind of sex the way a spider would do it.
Like a week later, she comes to him and says, "Peter, I'm pregnant. It's like a million babies in here."
And then all the spiders crawl.
Very awkward. It just explodes.
Damn.
I mean, he's killed his wife once already. Remember?
Yeah, in the comics.
Yeah.
I can just imagine a James Cameron R-rated version of Spider-Man.
I swear to God, if there's a freaking Spider-Man movie where freaking Mary Jane's like just straight up explodes because she's had spider babies inside her, I would watch that movie a million times over.
And William Dafoe comes in the door and realizes, oh my God.
Before James Cameron was going to make the Spider-Man, like I think like these people who weren't even familiar with the comics were going to have Spider-Man as little Spider-Man.
Fact funny.
Turned into a humanoid creature, and it would be against Dr. Octopus and these humanoid mutant animals, and it was such a weird script. And
it was going to be originally starred Leonardo DiCaprio and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Doc Ock.
What? We all know what happened when he was Mr. Freeze. Try not to happen again.
Is it true? Is it true?
In a Spider-Man movie, cast him as the Rhino. In fact, you know what I would have liked to see? Like if Raimi got to make Spider-Man 4, which was another movie that never got made. I kind of would have liked to see a cameo with Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Rhino, like, "Ooh, I am the Rhino."
Yeah, but that would have been, which would have been better than him in this fictional film of Spider-Man. And such, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger as Doc Ock, or him and like,
Isn't
Mr.
Doc
Freeze.
Ock like a geeky type character? Why would they choose Arnold Schwarzenegger as Doc Ock?
Hey, why would you choose Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze?
Really?
Oh,
name recognition.
Nice to see you. Yeah, that worked out quite.
You know what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
All of us are terrible at doing Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions, by the way.
Well,
literally all of us.
Yes, but it's interesting. But another film that was that has go ahead.
Like we mentioned Batman and Robin. Like to kind of get that film credit, it did lead to Warner Brothers trying to reboot. And I think before Christopher Nolan tried to make his Batman Begins, I think.
It's funny enough. They
tried to make this kind of weird adaptation of Batman Year One, where Bruce Wayne would become poor after his family was killed, and he would learn, I guess, from the heart and get his own materials. Idea, although it might have been cool if it was executed. Though I think we were better off with the Nolan films.
Oh yes, but funny enough, they have really problems with the Batman. They actually thought this was a sequel, believe it or not, because reboots during the time weren't really well known.
They weren't popular enough.
Yeah, and they're like, "Is this a sequel? Is this a new one?"
Well, they did remakes before, like with King Kong in the '70s, but
yeah.
But yeah, it was, they had to really put like, this is going to be this, that, and the other. But it didn't really work at all.
Yeah, but the journey between Batman to Batman Begins was actually one of the biggest fucking hurdles that they ever had to face. Because if I remember correctly, Warner Bros. And DC were in a panic due to Batman and Robin being a negative flop.
Because it was toy commercial, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It was a bad, horrible, corny as fuck. Yeah,
no, it was a toy commercial. It was a toy commercial. That was the problem.
Yeah, it was a toy commercial, and despite making $400 million, the backlash.
They did try to do a sequel to that. Joel Schumacher tried to
Batman Triumphant,
like Scarecrow or like Man-Bat, and it would.
Yeah, Scarecrow and Man-Bat.
It was going to be Scarecrow and Man-Bat, because, like, in the script idea, Batman would hallucinate the Jack Nicklaus Joker throughout the movie, because in those series, Joker killed his parents.
Yeah.
So it's like the effect of the
even though it wouldn't make much sense, considering he already faced the Joker in the first Batman movie by Tim Burton, so. It would be pointless to retread old ground. And there was also going to be 3 more Batman live-action films, including Batman Year One that you already mentioned, and also Batman Beyond and Batman Triumphant.
I think Batman Beyond would actually work though.
Like,
yeah.
I think
and also
amazing.
the other one,
and that one.
Yeah, hold on. And the other one, which be ready for this, was Batman versus Superman.
And we all know how that turned out.
Oh yeah.
Well, the origin is
film called Superman Returns that was gonna have Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Yeah, you mentioned. Wait, you didn't know?
Like, what a toy.
No!
Like,
you didn't know? There's a documentary about it, dude. Are you fucking kidding? Yeah.
Toys. They were gonna have fighting polar bears guarding like his what is it called? His
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name. What?
And Doomsday was.
Why Nicolas Cage? Why Nicolas Cage?
Well,
what's
Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
Before he started to fade into obscurity.
No, not even that. It's more of he does not fit the part whatsoever.
Did you see the documentary Superman Lives?
Does. To be fair, Mega, he actually kind of does. And oh god, I'm gonna get so much fucking hate to this. But
is that Superman dies, but he gets reincarnated as like Lois Lane's baby, like his son, reincarnated as his own son.
No, not really. That was actually one of the.
I don't know if Nicolas Cage actually would look like Superman like whatsoever.
But actually, you gotta watch a documentary called.
Let him talk.
I'm sorry. All right. There was actually a documentary of The Death of Superman Lives, and I honestly, it looked like this. I actually thought this was gonna be really good. If you look at the backstage, it felt like they really were going to do some things that would have been more interesting.
And the concept art is really fantastic, to be fair. I mean, the visuals look very strange and bizarre for a Tim Burton film, but not like a typical Tim Burton film, but more like it feels like a world that's inhabited by Superman. And some of the ideas were awesome, including a suit where actually it's a companion to Clark Kent, Jor-El. Because, he's the companion suit, like a psychic, is the only connection he has to Krypton, while the Doomsday in Superman Lives is not like a big hulking monster to destroy stuff, but he's dead, but here's the thing. He actually has the ability to shapeshift. Hold on a minute. He actually
Superman photo.
Yeah. He actually has the ability to shapeshift many faces of Clark's loved ones, including his Lois Lane, Pa Kent, Ma Kent, and his ability to manipulate Clark Kent's emotions by using them against them, which is actually a concept that they could have easily used for Batman v Superman, the new one. Too bad they didn't use it, and we got Lord of the Rings Doomsday. That was fucking great.
Well, more like a Michael Bay Ninja Turtle Doomsday.
No, it's it's like Lord of the Rings and Ninja Turtles had sex and gave birth to it and realized, okay, we're gonna adopt you.
You know how they did like the TMNT reboot produced by Michael Bay that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Well, like before that, like there was another idea for TMNT reboot, and this was before Michael Bay's whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Alien Turtles thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like basically before they sold the rights to Nick, they were kind of wanting to do some prequel / the original comic book creators from the Ninja Turtle comic. They originally wanted like a darker, grittier reboot, like somewhat cash in on Batman Begins, but also to be more like an adaptation of the comic. Like they wanted like a kind of darker TMNT movie to be closer to like the comic that was made to like parody the Frank Miller comics, Daredevil and
Ronin.
Yeah.
Which I haven't read yet.
Even more trying to find people to play like the Foot Clan through like a contest, who ended up playing the Foot Clan in the Michael Bay reboot. Yeah. What do you think of that? Would that have worked? Like a darker TMNT reboot?
Well, honestly, a darker one, a more interesting one, a reboot. First, they had to have the costumes that look really they have to have the CGI. They have to look really like
It was gonna be like a CGI,
not like free. Like
so I do think they were gonna use.
I don't see it was. I mean, we already had one. It was the 1990s one, the first one. I was pretty much supposed to be what have.
That one still seems pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and
like the 1991 one, it's still pretty good. Like there were some corny elements, but those corny elements work if you consider like the 80s cartoon. And it is a little closer to the comic. In fact, it like kind of somewhat adapts like a arc in the comic, just like a little more lighthearted for, well, not exactly lighthearted, but a little more for kids. You still there?
Yeah, we're still here. We just made you talking.
Just was that moment of silence.
Yeah, the sounds of silence. But before we get back to that, hopefully not in the podcast, but the one thing you look and say with Superman Lives, getting back to that, is, I honestly, like I said, the visuals and everything else, that Tim Burton type of flair. And that, to me, when you look at, the problem is with Tim Burton is that, once he gets to that, because sometimes he goes way into himself, that's the problem. He needs someone to say, okay, you need to hold your arms on the lead. Like he's one of these guys that he's like, when he's off, he will go on the world, and you're like, wow, it's really went a little crazy. And
it's kind of like George Lucas. You need if you don't put him on a leash, you'll make some questionable creative decisions.
Well,
I'm not to compare both into George Lucas, but not to deliberately compare both into George Lucas. Just. That's kind of the best comparison analogy I could come up.
Well, sure.
Like sometimes you gotta have a leash on these people.
Yeah.
The reason he made Alice in Wonderland the way he made it was because the script was quote unquote emotional to him. So did I say script? I mean like the book. So basically he tried to make the book into a Narnia ripoff.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the best way to describe the movie. Like Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings wannabe.
With Alice in Wonderland in it, but I think it's more with Disney wanting to make a replica franchise with Narnia. But guess what? Alice Through the Looking Glass bombed like a bitch, and they're not making it. That doesn't stop them from making more live-action adaptations, though. But that's a topic for another day. Hopefully.
Gonna do a live action Lion King.
They're doing it.
Like a live action Mulan, I think. I think they intended an old Chinese cast.
In order to please the progressive critics and journalists by going, see, only Asian people will make the film now. Isn't it great? Because only Asian people know how to of their history, and that's kind of disrespectful.
Well, wouldn't it? Well, not to go SJW, but like with Mulan, wouldn't it make sense to do all Asian? Unless you had some other character that was like a foreigner, like the Matt Damon character in Great Wall. This isn't Mulan's like a Chinese legend, right?
Yeah, it is a Chinese legend, but guess what? A few American animators already did that. It was called Mulan in the 90s. And
that's the thing. Disney is going to be doing this stuff right now. So, I mean, Jungle Book was... Oh, sorry.
Animated movies.
Well, they're going to make them live action.
We have an obsession with animation not being good enough. We want it live action.
Well, Beauty and the Beast is going to come out, and then you had Jungle Book last year. So Disney's Aladdin is going to do the same thing.
Genies.
So, yeah. So that's going to be
fun. Like in Aladdin, will they try to have it all like a foreign cast to not piss off the SJWs, or will they have white people? Will they have white people that don't exactly do it well, like that Prince of Persia?
Yeah, but to be fair, the Prince of Persia movie, it's very favorable. I mean, for one thing, the main character in the reboot of Prince of Persia, the video game, not the 2008, but the Sands of Time reboot video game, The Persian character was fucking white, for God's sakes. Even the other character models were white and light brown skin, like different skin tones, for God's
And he
sakes.
was not even. I honestly, I got that game like for my birthday, and I still can't remember anything about it. It was bland and uninteresting, and the game had no ending.
Actually, it actually kind of does, but it ends open for a sequel, you know, with Warrior Within.
Well,
No. I'm talking about like the one of the
2008. So no Prince of Persia reboot 2.
No, I'm talking about the 2008 one, by the way.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that fucking reboot was fucking boring. That doesn't happen. The Sense of Time one was way much stronger than that.
Oh yeah. I thought
Well, didn't they backpedal on the whole reboot thing by doing like another sequel to Sands of Time, like the same year that Prince of Persia movie came out?
Yeah, they were trying to make a sequel to War Within, but the problem is Disney wouldn't allow them to make an R-rated Prince of Persia film, and even they wouldn't allow them to Touchstone Pictures to distribute the film, so that fizzled into obscurity anyway. So that's.
I wonder how it would do now, since the whole thing with the Deadpool movie, you know, like the whole thing about rated R movie.
It needs more convincing, though.
Speaking of that, Deadpool went through
development for time, but to get released, but it didn't really. I think it lost $15 million.
Here's the thing. Deadpool was in development hell for like 10 years, actually.
12 years, actually.
Yeah, 12 years. They were going to do something with Cable and Deadpool. Exactly. It's funny enough, Ryan Reynolds was gonna. Reason why he liked Deadpool was like he says the character himself refers to himself as appearance as Ryan Reynolds crossed with a Sharpay, and they were kept trying to do it, and then they're interested. Then nope, we're not gonna do anything. They were considered one after X-Men Origins Wolverine, but you know how that Deadpool, Barakapool came out.
They fucked Deadpool.
And the thing is, they had like a post-credit scene where like you see his arm going to the head of the Barakapool, and the eyes open and the mouth is open now, and he does like he shushes the audience. We never heard from that Deadpool again.
Thank God.
Yep.
Yeah,
we don't speak Barack of Deadpool. That did not happen.
They made fun of it in the movie though, which I thought was funny.
Like, what if with these Hollywood designs where they try to make it quote unquote more realistic?
The concept art.
More realistic. I mean, like generic and what they think would sell.
And here's the funny thing: you know how they got made? It was because they showed that little like trailer thing.
Oh yeah,
and it was leaked, and everyone loved it.
And they decided, okay, we'll greenlight it. Unfortunately, the same thing didn't apply to that Kennedy Tabosky Popeye movie.
Yeah. Oh yes,
man, that was depressing me.
Like you could say, isn't it now going to be from the director of the Ratchet and Clank movie?
Oh, no. Hold on. I had the information right here. Let's see. Oh, I've been wanting to talk about that fucking film for a while now. Like, Jesus Christ.
Like, what is it with that? Like, Deadpool's test footage gets leaked. It gets positive reviews, positive reaction, and they greenlight it.
So, yeah.
Popeye, they release a test footage online, gets positive reception, and the execs say, oh, we like it, but it's not hip and trendy enough.
Yeah.
So, you're fired.
No, because here's the thing. Hold on. Genndy Tartakovsky wanted to make a Popeye movie for a long time because he was a fan of the original comic strips, and he was also a fan of the Robin Williams movie, if you can believe that.
I like that movie, so don't.
I actually like the Robin Williams Popeye movie.
Hold on. I'm making a point. And he wanted to make the CG animation like not only unrealistic as possible, like the Hotel Transylvania films, but also more closer to the animation of the Popeye cartoon shorts and the comic strips. He did this.
I saw the test footage. It was pretty.
And it was pretty. Yeah, it's pretty beautiful to look at.
It would have been legit as a movie. I think that would have made a lot of money.
Exactly, and the voices were pretty good.
Transylvania movies, whether you like them or not, they make decent amounts of money. Like, I think the second one made more than the first, so
And they're making a third. They're making a third movie with Gandhi directing again, and
I think they'll be making another animated movie called Imagine something.
Can you imagine? Yeah, that's his personal project. But back on the whole Popeye thing, he was ready to greenlight to make the film, but later years the project was shelved. That is until the Sony hacks happened in 2014, where Gendy explained, well, I offered them the project, but they saying no because it wouldn't make much money as the Smurfs, so they fired me, and instead they took my project away, and now they're handling the rights to TJ Fixman, aka the writer of the Ratchet and Clank Future series and the movie. That piece of shit movie that bastardized the fucking franchise to the ground.
Whoa! The movie?
The Ratchet and Clank movie.
I heard it was pretty decent. In fact, I was sort of planning to do, if I ever get a PS4, which will hopefully.
Well, the thing is, they released the game based off the movie, and it's pretty much the same story. So why would
we deleted scenes?
In fact, unlike the movie, the game was actually a hit.
Yeah, the game was a fucking hit, but guess what? It bastardized fucking Ratchet and Clank into a Pixar wannabe story. The social commentary that made the first 4 games stand out, they threw it out the window in favor of Ratchet being a freaking Disney character.
Well, let's be honest.
I didn't think people would notice. I honestly didn't know about the social commentary until B-Mask's brilliant video.
Yeah.
I did always notice the humor always surrounded around the commercialization stuff, but
consumerism.
It wasn't until his analysis video that I realized that it's actually a commentary. It's satirizing. That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, of excessive consumerism, which made it stand out and made the world building more interesting. But the movie
it makes me not like the future series as much, even though they were still fun to play.
Yeah, gameplay wise, it's fine, but the problem is the story and the characters, they don't really evolve. They feel like we're watching a fucking Disney Pixar character slapped with Ratchet and Clank. That's the whole problem.
That's a epilogue. They do. We'll have to find his family, and instantly decides. Oh no!
Fuck my family. I'm just gonna destroy.
The roommate next door told me to not be so loud. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Loud, I didn't even notice. Honestly, I actually didn't notice.
It's the camera. It's loud. All right. That's okay. It's all right. You're okay. But anyway, another thing I do like about these films is, when people will say, "Oh, Popeye was canceled," but he's not. It's still happening because it's happening. But
it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while. But it's going to be supposedly the Emoji movie is going to come out for which, hey, you know what? I cast shade on the Lego movie. That was good. So let's come in with an open mind with that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The Emoji movie looks kind of lame.
It looks retarded.
Yeah, what happened to Mr. K?
His internet, the birds took his internet away.
Yeah, this has a tendency to happen.
So, speaking of movies in development hell, have you ever heard that comic series called Bone from Jeff Smith?
Oh,
which one?
Yeah. Oh, Bone. I've heard. I've read some of the stuff. It's okay.
Well, I think they've tried for many years to get the movie made. I think it's still in development, but now by the director of the first Kung Fu Panda movie. But
yes,
no set release date. And it's still pretty much in development. Here's a funny story. Originally you've heard of the Jeff Smith's Bone, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, basically, he originally pitched it to Nickelodeon, but Nickelodeon, what they wanted to do is have the 3 Bone characters voiced by child actors, even though they're grown up, and have pop songs in it, even though it's a more humorous version of Lord of the Rings. So the pop songs wouldn't make sense, but they wanted to put pop songs, so he refused to give the rights to Nickelodeon. And
he said, "quote."
The rights have been with Warner Brothers, who have still not make the movie.
It says, quote, Smith responds that one would never put a pop song in the middle of Lord of the Rings or Empire Strikes Back. Even though, funny enough, that the NSYNC or Backstreet Boys actually wanted to be, wanted to be a part, like, say, had like a backstage type, like a cameo on one of them.
Oh yeah, I remember they wanted to make a cameo on the Star Wars prequels one I heard, but that was rejected. Can you imagine Jar Jar Binks with the NSYNC boys?
Oh, sweet Jesus, no. Freaking make me queasy just thinking about it.
It is like Jar Jar Binks and the Backstreet Boys dancing together, like, and just singing.
That just makes me think back to what was it?
Oh my god.
Nah, forget it.
I would. That would be the greatest fucking meme ever made.
Freaking. I hate Jar Jar Binks to the passion. I just do.
Oh, but anyway, but honestly, I think when you look at the movies and such, but that are the most interesting thing about some of these things that they never come out. One day actually do. It's like Alien versus Predator. That was originally planned in after Predator 2, which is a good movie. It has a fall, but I still like it. It was released in 1993, but it was halted for over 10 years. It was like all many restarts, refreshes, and everything else. It was released in 2004 to, mixed.
2007.
Yeah, it was actually
the sequel.
No, it was actually 2004 by Paul W.S. Anderson, and one thing that killed it was
Paul W.S. Anderson. Is that the same guy who did the Resident Evil movies?
Yeah,
and Horizon.
Oh boy!
And here's the real thing: is that
let him talk.
All right, but here's the crazy thing: is that this was a PG-13 movie.
Yeah. Well, not really, because apparently it was actually supposed to be aimed at an R-rated film, because there were a lot of gore scenes filmed out, practical and CG. But the MPAA and Fox demanded the film to be cut to a PG-13 audience, and there you go. They released it in PG-13, and they sold the R-rated version, the original cut, as the R-rated version. Double tipping.
Yes.
An edition craze. And it's still happening. I mean, look at Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think they'll do. I'm sure they're probably going to do a Wonder Woman extended cut.
Yeah.
Just guessing. Considering they're doing reshoots on it.
They already did the reshoot, so of course they're going to do an extended edition because, that's not the real version of the film. The real version is on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Give us your $5.
Oh, yeah. There is like one out of all the movie development old movie stories. One of the most interesting one is like Joe Dubosky's adaptation of Dune.
Oh yeah,
there's like even a documentary about it.
Yep, it was supposed to be a 10-hour
basically,
film.
Like he had like very this bizarre vision of his bizarre version of Dune, but. Sometimes it can end up being bad. Like, his version actually sounded pretty cool. Now, granted, I have not read Dune, but it did sound better than the movie that eventually got made. Which I think they actually plan to remake that with the director who made Arrival.
Denis Villeneuve, yeah.
Yeah, they plan to try again with Dune for movie format.
Yeah, which is in good hands at least. Thank God.
Dune, there was a lot of concept art for that movie. Like, he even had planned actors and designs for the costumes, the ships. There's a bunch of concept art, but the movie got canned for I don't remember what reason.
Yeah, I remember they canned it because Jodorowsky wanted to make a 10-hour film of the Dune movie. Yes, a 10-hour film.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bit much.
Oh,
yeah. With the executives, they basically just say, "Are you fucking crazy? We're not gonna fund a 10-hour film." But
it does sound crazy.
But my guess,
granted, the guy does seem. I haven't seen any of his movies, but from what I've seen, he does seem like a visionary director, but 10-hour long movie.
Well, let's be honest. There are films that do that. Heck, there's some films that could take like 10, 15.
But I think, but don't they like split it in hours? They split it in different parts. Like on Netflix, I did an independent movie called Arabian Nights, and it's split into 3 parts because it's such a long movie overall. It's split into 3 parts.
I never heard of it.
Same
Arabian Nights.
Reminds me of that one line in Aladdin.
It's an independent movie, so I haven't seen it actually. Just heard of it.
Actually, funny enough, there's been a lot of like, for example, for the longest movie ever made, supposedly all time, is called Logistics, and it is over 857 hours, 35 days. So basically a movie that takes like over 35 days and 17 hours to watch.
What?
How can you do a movie that long?
You have to do a lot of SD cards, man.
Yep.
What you said, it sounds like one of those movies where they just have like one of those movies where it's just an image of one object for a long time.
Oh, there was actual scratch that. There's a 72-minute, 2004, a 72-minute trailer of the longest movie. It's called, I think it was. Let's see, there was actually it was actually for a whole total 30 days. It was a Ambience, I think it's called. It was like, I don't know what it's about, but it's like over. It was like over like 30 days, like, oh, you have to watch it over a course of 30 days. So, yeah.
It sounds like some The Ring type shit. What you're just saying.
But
like, that's art right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like a freaking kid's like, you have to watch it in 30 days or you die. 7 days.
Creative freedom is all fine, but like if you make something so long that no one's gonna want to watch it, what's the point?
Well, it depends on the filmmaker, though. It depends on the filmmaker and the idea.
It's like either split into different movies or you put way too much in your movie.
Yeah, that could also happen. But the thing about films in development hell is just that it's various reasons. Sometimes a vision is too ambitious. Sometimes a executive doesn't trust a filmmaker. But I do think that sometimes you have to just go with your gut and just try your best out there. If it fails, you keep on doing it. If it succeeds, then hey, guess what? It might give more faith in executives and even filmmakers to work together and bring some of these dead projects to life.
Can I talk about a sort of development hell movie that I'm somewhat fascinated by because it's based off
Sure.
I'm sorry. Like my roommate just came in here. Anyway, there's an anime I like called Mr. K knows about this, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, I talked about it in my last list.
Like with the and Mr. K already knows this, but basically I think they try to make that into a live action adaptation. Like there's even like from Rita Workshop, the same people who did the visual effects for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, with additional
and plenty of other movies. Like basically, like there's like several pieces of concept art, and even like an interview from people at Rita explaining the concept art. They just couldn't get a green light. They couldn't get enough money. And of course, eventually, there was a legal dispute between the North American distributor and Gainax,
ADV Films,
who made the series. And basically, as far as I know, the North American distributor went bankrupt.
Yeah, ADV Films were the ones who were supposed to do the live-action Evangelion film. And hold on, I think I'm getting some echo. Fuck.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I think he's gone. Okay.
Random echo was random.
Yep, it's already gone. But yeah, ADV Films were supposed to be in charge of the live-action film, but it's weird because ADV Films is a dub company that dubs Japanese animated OVAs, films, or series. And let's see. I know that they canceled due to the bankruptcy between their company, also the lawsuit by Gainax, because they have the half rights of Evangelion and they wanted it back.
Yeah.
And
the rights are slowly coming back to the creator of it, Hideaki Anno, who actually did his own studio to make like the rebuild films.
Yeah, the rebuild of Evangelion, it's called.
Rights back, but like it wasn't a great of a process, so they had to sue Gainax. I think
it went badly. But so far, it just went badly, and they had to pay, if I remember, like $360,000 to Gainax.
Oh yeah. Like a Evangelion movie, I think would be very interesting. Although I could wait 10 or 20 years more, considering if one came out now, it would probably bomb due to people mistaking it for a Pacific Rim ripoff. Which, funny enough, people may compare Pacific Rim to Evangelion.
Yeah, because due to anime being a niche market in the West, even though despite it's still popular, it's not big as
but they're like very superficial similarities. Guillermo Totoro has not seen Evangelion, although I think he would make a good director for an Evangelion movie.
Yeah, but the problem with Evangelion is that I know we're not gonna hate it. The problem is it is a very complex and very religious property, and I'm pretty sure Hollywood wouldn't even dare to fucking touch the property.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, look what they're doing to Ghost in the Shell. I mean, the first teaser trailer looked really promising. The second trailer, this
generic.
company,
it's generic as heck, and that's a real
problem. It has the look of Ghost in the Shell, but the freaking story.
Why? This seems so much similar to RoboCop. The premise.
RoboCop.
I always knew they were going with the amnesia route. Like I always knew that, but the second trailer made it seem more like RoboCop.
Seriously,
you're talking about the recent remake of RoboCop, that bland, uninteresting dude.
No, yeah, probably something like that. RoboCop, I'm talking about like RoboCop in general. She doesn't remember the past she had before she was a cyborg.
Yeah.
Thing, which I'm wondering how that will work. I'm hoping it doesn't end up being ridiculous, because the movie looks visually good and it looks promising from a visual standpoint. I hope it's not schlock.
Yeah, and also after decades of being in development hell, I mean, Ghost in the Shell was in development hell for quite a long time. I mean, originally Steven Spielberg was supposed to direct the film, no?
Steven Spielberg might have done a good Ghost in the Shell movie, or maybe like the Wachowskis. But why didn't they get Christopher Nolan to make a Ghost in the Shell movie, considering that he's people know who Christopher Nolan is. Like Interstellar made money, even if it's like a more complex.
Interstellar did not. It bombed for the most part.
Yeah,
I think it still made some profit actually.
It made profit, but it wasn't the big hit that Warner Bros. Was expecting from a director of The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight trilogy.
Well, I still think it would have made a little more sense to get a director get Christopher Nolan than a director nobody exactly knows. Like Rupert Sanders, his only movie was
Snow White and the Huntsman.
And before that, he mainly did commercials.
Yeah, and he's a very director.
Like Christopher Nolan, at least that's somewhat of a name draw.
Yeah.
Even as Mr. K once said, maybe even have Zack Snyder to do the visuals and stuff.
Yeah, he can do the visuals, and Christopher Nolan can direct the story, the physical aspect of Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I am still somewhat optimistic about the Ghost in the Shell movie, but I'm wondering if I will be disappointed.
Oh, trust me, disappointment. You had to deal with disappointment for a long time. I already did it with the live action Disney adaptation, so. Be prepared.
I guess that's
Be prepared.
I guess that's why you can't always get what you want.
No. That's true.
Well, but honestly, I think this development, there's more films we could talk about. I mean, just Cool World, all these type of things. I think Beverly Hills Cop 4, that may not happen. Or I think even Austin Powers 4.
Oh, it's actually going to happen. Don't worry. Because guess what? DreamWorks now has hired the writer for Austin Powers to write Boss Baby. And I think, let's see, the Shrek 5 movie that's going to be produced by Minions creator Chris Meledandri.
What?
Oh, yeah,
they're making a fifth one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was in development hell since freaking after the film Shrek Forever After ended.
Thing is, didn't they cancel the fifth one because they decided to have the fourth one as the last? In fact, in some commercials it was called the final chapter. But now, now that Universal bought DreamWorks, they want to do a Shrek 5.
Yeah, because now that Illumination Entertainment just brought DreamWorks, basically making them their bitch now. Chris Meledandri is not gonna make Shrek 5 a reboot, basically to produce more $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because those fucking little yellow bastards make more money, so we have to make a Shrek 5 reboot with another Minion type thing. What's next? Annoying pixie ducks, fairies that gotta say pew 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 to make more money.
Keep making ideas for them. But you know what? We have talked this over an hour about this subject, and I think we basically I think we talked. I think we're not going to reach a and not conclude, but I think we reached our peak development.
Our time limit, basically. We've been here for 3 hours.
Our time has already come, boys and girls. We're sorry.
Don't worry. We have a completely better thing to talk about next time. Don't worry, and we're gonna have a lot more people.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Who knows? We might actually have like an early discussion before the next one that we have in mind.
I'm gonna make a quick mention of it before we end.
Yeah.
Like the Halo movie they tried to make.
Which one?
The Halo movie. It was gonna be Neil Klombeck, the director of District 9.
Oh yeah. But everyone knows that.
It never really went into the production because a mix of executive interference from Tom Wartman and Microsoft being stubborn and arrogant due to thinking that these movie executives would just go into their demands and let them have complete control over the movie.
No, just because Universal and 20th Century Fox couldn't agree on how to fund the movie, because Universal Studios wanted to fund a $200 million budget to Halo, but Fox only wanted to fund it like $90 million because they didn't have that much faith on a Halo movie making that much money, even though they announced it in a time where Halo was really, really popular.
Yeah, that's the thing about most video game movies, because what's happened in the past.
Hold on, let Christian talk.
Here's the deal when it comes to video game movies. We talked about ones before, because of how they've been in the past and how they've gotten poor reviews and everything. A lot of the time, a lot of people in the field tend to not have as much faith in it because a lot of video game movies tend to follow the same path and follow the same way.
Yeah, they just tend to adapt the game. Hey, this is like the gameplay, but rather than adapting the story, themes, and ideas of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time they don't even be faithful to the story. Like Resident Evil movies.
And they're gonna reboot it.
No, yeah, and you see the problem. We really
the Mario movie. Anyone remember that abomination?
Yeah. I guess that's a good place to leave off. Who knows? We may bring up this this topic again, depending on.
I think this will be a very interesting topic to bring up again.
Yeah.
For many other discussions and such, but I think it's time to call this a little podcast, and we will reconvene on a later date.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening and watching, ladies and gentlemen, and
thank you all so much for watching.
And we will talk to y'all later.
Yes.
And
yes.
Say bye-bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Goodbye.